when you're choosing your loctician, you want to make sure that you are doing your own research. Hey guys, it's all that jazz. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss another video. So today I'm bringing y'all a new video. Boom. Y'all see we Christmas themed. Christmas. I didn't do Vlogmas, not this year, maybe next year. And shout out to all the people who did Vlogmas and recording day 1 through 25. That's a lot of good work. Bless y'all. Bless y'all. Today we are talking about how to choose your loctician. Let's start with location. Number one thing that you need is to know how far your loctician is. I don't know about y'all, but in Georgia, these locticians, they're not really up the street. They far, like, cause I'm not in the heart of Atlanta. But even if I was, they out here in McDonough. If you're familiar, I'm currently in Stone Mountain, luckily, but that's still like a 40-minute drive for me. But every other one that I've been researching that are currently taking clients, far. Like one girl has Sister Locks, and I asked her about her loctician, like where she's located, and she was like an hour and a half from where we live. I met her in the area that I reside in, and I was like, girl, you drive an hour and a half every month? Now, I mean, that's real loyalty. That's real loyalty. And if that's where I happen to find mine, then I'm gonna stick with her as long as she's good. I am. But that's a little far. So number one you want to consider is how far you're gonna have to drive, because you're gonna have to do this at least every 4 to 6 weeks to get your hair retightened. So location is definitely important. I prefer to keep it like 30 minutes or less. The only way to me that I would move is if I super love my loctician and she was like, I'm moving shops, and I was like, no, it's been 10 years, I gotta follow you. That's the only way I'll be like, okay, I'll go far. But one of my locticians, I remember one lady said that she came all the way from South Carolina to Georgia, which, okay, granted, that's not 8 hours, but that's still a little commute, a whole nother state to get your locks retwished. Better be the best. Better be. Before you book your consultation, I think that you should get at least a minimum of 3 people that you're interested in, if possible. Narrow it down from there based off of like location and the rest of the things that I'm going to tell you in the video, pricing, stuff like that. So don't just look at one. Of course, look at multiple and consider all of your options. You want to make sure you do your own research before you do book a consultation. So you want to see if you can look at their reviews and you can check out their work. You know, that's what Instagram is for. Maybe even TikTok, whatever social platform they have that they're displaying their work at. Take a look at it. Do you feel like it's nice and neat, not too tight? Do you feel like they're friendly? You know, do they give off that vibe of, even when you reach out to them or email them with a question before you book, or give them a call or text, whatever the way that is that you contact them, were they nice about it? Were they professional? Were they short and dry? Were they not seem like they knew what they were talking about and welcome you into getting sister locks, like following up with you like, hey, were you still, you know? Now some people will have in their bio, you know, they're not taking any more installations or they're not taking any more retightening. So definitely take a look at that, because you'll think that, ooh, I found the perfect one, and then you go look back at their bio and they're like, not accepting any new clients at this moment. And then you're like, oh man, and the search continues. So of course it varies for every state. For me, I started off when I first got Sister Locks looking on the actual Sister Lock website. Some of them didn't have like an actual website where you could schedule, or even an Instagram where I can look at their name. Now that's not to say that they're not a great loctician, but for me, I prefer to see your work. I prefer to see what it is. Like, for example, I'm a photographer, so I wouldn't expect someone to say, oh, I'm gonna just book her, but they haven't seen my work. Or I wouldn't expect to go get some braids done, but I haven't seen their work. Like, you know, you gotta, that's my preference. I need to know what you got, what you working with, you know, I don't want to show up and I'm like, oh dang, she was on the site though. You know, that's just me. Typically certified if they go on the website, so obviously they probably know what they're doing, but that's just my preference. The way I went about finding a loctician was Instagram. That was like my super best friend. I was on Google a little bit, but I mostly was on Instagram, and I would search the hashtag since I live in Atlanta area, Atlanta Sister Loctician, or Atlanta Loctician, or Atlanta Sister Locks. Like, you have to specify typically what city, because if you just type hashtag Sister Locks or hashtag Loctician, that's all over the world. So you really have to get like as detailed as possible when you do put in your hashtag, whether that be, so do hashtag whatever city you live in Loctician, and maybe hashtag whatever city you live in Sister Loctician, because I would type in like Atlanta Loctician and just regular traditional dreadlocks will come up, or somebody doing their own DIY micro locks will come up, because we all use different hashtags. So you do have to be specific when you search for your loctician, you know, so that it narrows it down and you're like, okay, now I don't have to scroll for endless hours trying to find one. But that's how I found the one that did install my locks. And then as far as like when I moved to another loctician, it was because my aunt was going to her, so I was like, let me try her. When you do book the loctician for a consultation, see if when you get there, there's a couple questions that you can ask. You do a consultation with this person, that means that you're strongly considering them. One of the first questions you can ask is, if it's not already on their website, how much are their retightening? So obviously you want to know how much installation is and how much is the retightening. And you not only want to know how much retightening is just for 4 to 6 weeks, the average, but you also want to know, like, okay, beyond that, how much would I need to pay? Like, what are their prices if they don't already have them laid out, which typically they do. And another question you can ask, how should you maintain your locks? Like, we do know this is a low maintenance style, but like I said in my previous video, it's not a no maintenance style. So you can't not do anything and just literally only wake up and go. That's the most of the days, but you can't do that for your whole life. You know, there is upkeep to it. So ask those kind of questions and make sure that you get the vibe that your sister loctician is knowledgeable in what they're doing. I would ask also, how long have they been doing locks? Is it, you know, yeah, I just kind of started like a year ago, which is nothing wrong with that. And if their work is amazing. And then there's also like, oh, I've been in the game 10 plus years or 5 plus years. It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. And that's not a bad question. You know, you just want to know, just like if you go get any other service done, why not ask them, I'm finna give you this buku money. I'm finna rack you up, stack you up with all this money. I don't know how much installation is and how much is the retightening. And you not only want to know how much retightening is just for 4 to 6 weeks, the average, but you also want to know, like, okay, beyond that, how much would I need to pay? Like, what are their prices if they don't already have them laid out, which typically they do. And another question you can ask, how should you maintain your locks? Like, we do know this is a low maintenance style, but like I said in my previous video, it's not a no maintenance style. So you can't not do anything and just literally only wake up and go. That's the most of the days, but you can't do that for your whole life. You know, there is upkeep to it. Ask those kind of questions and make sure that you get the vibe that your sister loctician is knowledgeable in what they're doing. I would ask also, how long have they been doing locks? Is it, you know, yeah, I just kind of started like a year ago, which is nothing wrong with that. If their work is amazing. And there's also like, oh, I've been in the game 10 plus years or 5 plus years. It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. That's not a bad question. You know, you just want to know, just like if you go get any other service done, why not ask them, I'm finna give you this buku money. I'm finna rack you up, stack you up with all this money. I need to know. Another thing that you should know is, will anybody else be working on your hair in the salon? So if they have other trainees under them, if it's just them that will be maintaining your hair, and if there are other people, maybe grab their names, because typically it depends. It might be a lot of people, it might not, but you know, maybe you could be introduced to that person if they're available. You also want to see, basically, if you're introduced, take a look at their work on Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, just in case they like pass you off because they get so booked, or it's like man, I haven't, she installed me, but I've been having such and such for a while. Like, you know, just make sure you're comfortable in the environment with the people, with their personalities. You know, you don't feel like they gonna be like, oh girl, we gotta cancel, oh girl, we gotta reschedule. Make sure that, you know, you feel like it's very professional wherever you do go. Some other questions, simple questions that you can ask: if you wanted to dye your hair, when do they recommend you dyeing them? Also, do they think that you should go ahead and get your hair trimmed at this point, or cut before you do get them installed? You know, do they understand the maintenance of the natural hair? You know, you can also even ask like what type of pattern they'll be using to like lock your hair as well. To sum up, everything you need to do is basically make sure you are okay with the location. Make sure you do your research on the loctician before you go ahead and book them for their consultation. And I would actually reach out to them before you actually book it. Just kind of see their vibe and like what they are. Or if your preference is not necessarily to communicate with them, you can just book it and then you'll see when you get there as well. That does sum up a couple of tips you can use to choose your sister loctician. As always, I appreciate you watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.